Rampage with a quick jab. Left hand, Silva is...
So what is next for most of these fighters on UFC 232? You know, the aftermath has left a lot of guys in a position where they're now looking for what could be next and what's the next challenge. For Jon Jones, it seems his path may be crossing DC's once more. If it's not DC's, there is a very, very high probability he may get the winner of Anthony Smith versus somebody. Right now, it seems Corey Anderson has called out Anthony Smith, so if that fight were to take place, I would go ahead and say that the winner of Anthony Smith and Corey Anderson will be taking on Jon Jones in the near future if he does not fight DC next. As for Alexander Gustafsson, he's in a weird position right now where he's lost another championship fight and he's got himself a long road to rehab and to come back to fight. If I'm Alexander Gustafsson, I could see him being matched up against the likes of probably a Shogun Rua, who continues to win the fights where he's supposed to be losing. Or maybe a potential matchup against Anthony Smith. This is also very high possibility or probability. But if we're I truly do believe he'll be against someone in the top 5. If I were to actually put him against someone, I would probably put Alexander Gustafsson against Thiago Santos. This guy has been on a tear recently, and he's looking for a claim at that championship belt. If it's not Thiago Santos taking on Alexander Gustafsson, then I'm going to have to rule Thiago Santos to have to take on Anthony Smith or Corey Anderson. Those would be fantastic matchups. But for Alexander Gustafsson, I truly think that a matchup against the likes of a Thiago Santos or even a Volkan Ozdemir would be great for his career and achieving a potential future championship rematch or opportunity again. As for the likes of Amanda Nunes, what she does next is a question of which division she wants to compete in. See, she now holds the bantamweight and the featherweight championship of the world. And unfortunately for the women's featherweight championship of the world, her only probable opponent is the likes of Megan Anderson at this point. So if I'm going to say what could be next for Amanda Nunes, I'm going to say she probably takes on Megan Anderson defending her featherweight title of the world. If she does not defend the featherweight championship of the world, you have to go ahead and say that Jermaine Randemain may be next for Amanda Nunes, or a potential matchup against Holly Holm, who has been waiting for a shot at the championship belt. She has been sitting on the sidelines this entire time. She has earned her right to have this opportunity for the bantamweight title. So that may be next for Amanda Nunes. It may be Holly Holm. Carlos Condit, retirement or another organization. For Chris Cyborg, what may be next in her future? Look, if she doesn't get an immediate rematch against Amanda Nunes, I could see her potentially taking on Kat Zingano or Megan Anderson. Those are very high probabilities for Chris Cyborg. As for Michael Chiesa, I believe he called out Neil Magny after his fight yesterday. So that may be the route that he may be headed. Now whether the UFC chooses to go that route, that is a different story. If I were not to go with the likes of a Neil Magny, I would have to say he would probably match up well against a Leon Edwards or a Jorge Masvidal. One of these two guys would be fantastic matchups for Michael Chiesa and to bump him into the top 10 of the division. Now, yesterday, Alexander Volkanovski, I finally got his name right, earned a huge victory over the likes of a Chad Mendes. Could see him being matched up against the likes of a Cub Swanson or Jeremy Stephens. This is the kind of matchup that can propel him to the next level and to finally get him that potential opportunity, a top 5 opponent, and then maybe a number 1 contender fight for the championship belt. Now, I know it's a step backwards. Since Volkanovski was number 10, he took on number 5 ranked Chad Mendes. But at this point, you don't want to match him up against a Frankie Edgar right off the bat. You also don't want to match him up against a Renato Moicano at this point. A Cub Swanson and Jeremy Stephens would be 2 of the best possible outcomes and 2 of the best possible matchups for him at this point in his career. That is just a quick idea of what could be next for the winners and losers of UFC 232's card. That's round number 2. Now we're going to get to round number 3, where I'm just going to discuss a little bit of what the future holds for mixed martial arts. Now, I know the week where I was in Punta Cana, I discussed the application of ESPN Plus, Fight Pass, and etc. and One Championship, but I'm just going to discuss, I'm not going to be talking about the television networks and any of that. I will be solely discussing what could be next in the future of mixed martial arts for each of these companies and where we could see them going at this point. And I'm talking outside of television deals and all of that.